From downtown Scranton, this is Northeast Current. WQPX invites you to join us as we explore public affairs, current events, and arts and culture in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Now, let's meet today's guests on Northeast Current.
Welcome to Northeast Current. My name is Gabrielle Alberigi. I'm a senior broadcast journalism student at Penn State. We're standing here outside of Wyoming area with Kathy Connors from the Traffic Injury Prevention Project. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, this week is National Child Passenger Safety Week. Now, tell me a little bit about that.
So the goal of Child Passenger Safety Week is just to promote proper use of car seats and seat belts, encourage parents to research and find out how to buckle up their children properly every day, and just be safe.
Right. Now, I know there's been some recent changes to the car seat laws.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so in Pennsylvania, we had a little bit of an upgrade in our child passenger safety law. It's still a primary law, so the parents have to have their children buckled up. A police officer can cite them for not having them buckled up. So the change to the law was that in addition to the birth to 4, being in a car seat wherever they are in the car, that they have to be rear-facing till 2, or until they reach the highest weight and height limit of their car seat. So that's a big improvement. The law continues for 4 to 8. They need to be in at least a booster seat, and then 8 to 18, they need to be in at least a seatbelt.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
That's good. I mean,
Right.
the laws are there to help
Right.
protect, so they're needed, yes.
Right.
So, how important is it for kids to be in the car seat, even if they're going just like a mile down the road?
Well, we say every ride should be a safe ride. So even if it's just driving around a parking lot, going, dropping them off to school, that everybody needs to buckle up, even if it's just for a couple minutes. It's certainly well worth it. And we like to encourage parents to buckle up. It sets a good example. It's easier to have your children buckled up if you buckle up too. So
Right, I know.
Yeah.
The first thing I do when I get in the car, I buckle up. So
Right.
one day down the road, when I have kids, I'll
and then they'll be
hopefully
reminding
follow.
you.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Do you have car seat checks that are coming up where people can have their car seat checked to make sure they're installed properly?
Yeah. The state police, all the state police barracks will be holding their own car seat checks on and off site. We'll be holding some car seat checks, but the best place to check it out is our website, which is pakidstravelsafe.org. We have them all posted and all the dates and times. And you can also search on our website by county. So if you're looking for a fitting station or car seat check, you could just type in your county and they'll be listed. Okay.
Before we close, do you have any general safety tips to offer to us?
Okay, so probably the best way to travel, some quick things is to remember, first is to select the right car seat for your child based on their age, weight, and height, and any developmental needs they have. We also want you to try to purchase a new car seat, and this way you know the history of it and where you purchased it. We don't recommend used car seats, but in that event that you do, that we want to make sure that you get it from someone that knows the background of it, if it's been in a crash, does it have all the labels, and then the best way to install your car seat is follow the directions of the manufacturer and make sure it's secured tightly to the vehicle, and just watch harnessing on the harnessed car seats, that it's nice and snug on the child, and that you use it correctly every time.
Right, great information. Thank you very much for being here with us today, and we'll catch you after the break.
Welcome back to Northeast Current. I'm your host, Jason Miller. What makes a neighborhood a place we want to live? Nancy Lamond of AARP will discuss more than 100 initiatives launched by mayors nationwide to address pressing issues, from housing and transportation to civic participation and social inclusion. These inspiring leaders have improved communities for people of all ages. So what makes a community livable?
Well, we know a community is livable when it's safe and secure for its residents, when it has affordable and appropriate housing and transportation options, and when it can offer supportive community services and features people are looking for, like restaurants, healthy food, and education and entertainment opportunities.
Where are America's age-friendly communities?
Well, they're really everywhere. We oversee a network of age-friendly communities. We have over 100 that have signed up. They're across the country. Some are very small communities and some are very large cities.
What are some tips for creating age-friendly communities?
Well, some of the key features in age-friendly communities are housing, transportation, environment, meaning open spaces, park, health services, opportunities for civic and public engagement. Those tend to be the core things that people building out their communities are looking to create.
What is the Scranton area doing to improve livability?
Well, one thing we're very interested in is the effort underway right now with the Scranton Public Market. We think this is a very interesting example of a city coming together, kind of focusing on healthy lifestyles, bringing businesses and development into one place, and creating even more vibrancy in the community. We have, as you know, an ebook. You can download it at aarp.org/where we live that highlights 100 interesting initiatives around the country that mayors are undertaking to make their communities more livable. And we've been very struck by what you're doing right there in Scranton now.
Yes, we are excited for the marketplace. Do you know a study was recently conducted in the Scranton-Wilkes-Barre metro region was #1 unhappiest region in the U.S. But this new study has encouraged all of us to start new projects and events to bring about some new excitement and energy for our region.
Yeah, well, and as you point out, in Scranton is what's happening in so many other places, which is communities are coming together. It's not that we've highlighted mayors, and mayors are important catalysts, but community leaders, other elected officials, citizens groups are all kind of coming together to talk about what they can do to make their particular community more livable.
Do you have any success stories you'd like to share with us?
Well, there are so many examples in the ebook. I think what has struck us as we put together where we live is how many different things are happening. So you have in some places public gardens that have been created, other places parks, walking trails, biking trails, looking to create even more greenery in some places than might have existed before. And then in transportation, which has been such an important issue in so many places, how to provide more bus service, van pools, volunteer drivers. There's really so much happening across the country, and I think we can learn from what's in this volume, Where We Live, and also what's happening elsewhere. In fact, we want to encourage people, your viewers and listeners, to send us at livable@aarp.org anything that we may have missed in this first volume.
Any last-minute comments for our viewers?
Only that we hope you'll download this free ebook, aarp.org/where we live. And while you're at the AARP website, we hope you'll look at our other tools that are there. We have one that's particularly interesting. It's called the Livability Index. Type in your zip code and you'll get an immediate picture of how livable your neighborhood is.
Nancy, thanks for all this great information. And Northeast Current will return right after these messages. And welcome back to Northeast Current. I'm your host, Jason Miller. When you go to a restaurant, you probably don't think much about where the food on your plate has come from. But highly advanced technology through irrigation management and satellite imaging combined with conservation practices have directly impacted the food we find in our local stores. Joining us live today from a farm in Texas, our farmers Gina Sugarek and Nicole Spurlock. Hi Gina and Nicole. Can you tell our viewers how women are taking a growing role in family farming?
Yes, well, one reason that we're taking a growing role in the family farm is that we're realizing how important it is for us to connect with consumers. We understand that everyone has to eat. It's vital for all of us, and thank goodness it's fun. But a lot of people want to know about their food. They want to know that it's safe for their kids. They want to know that it's safe for themselves. They want to know that the farmers are being good stewards of the land when they're growing it. And that is how I believe that our role is changing as compared to my mother-in-law's role and my grandmother-in-law's role, is that we're learning that we need to advocate. We need to get out there and visit with people and help them know more about what's happening on the farm and how the food that we're growing is safe for them to consume.
Can you describe the new technology that's helping with conservation and sustainability efforts?
Well, there are many different technologies that come into play. Some of those are using GPS and satellite imaging just the way you do in your car or for other professions, but we're doing it in our field. We're making sure that seeds are planted at a precise location and that the crops are taken up in a precise manner as well. This helps not only for water conservation, but it helps in efficiency, it's cost effective, and that trickles down to the consumer. We also embrace biotechnologies on this farm. The corn behind me, for example, uses about half the water that it would have needed 30 years ago to grow this corn. So that is remarkable for us. It is so important. Myself being an expectant mother, Gina has a daughter. We are all about conserving water, using fewer pesticides and less fertilizer as well, so biotechnology helps us do that.
What do you do to keep soil healthy on your farms?
We actually do several things. We use resources such as the Natural Resources Conservation Service. They help put us in touch with different programs that encourage us and teach us how to do things that preserve the natural resources like our land and our water. They range from all different kinds of stuff, from using high-tech technology to just using great practices that they have researched and have realized that those things are very effective in helping the soil. One thing that we do, like the corn behind us, after it's harvested and they get the corn that they need off of it, they'll leave the rest of that plant there on top of the ground. That will help keep that topsoil down. It will help keep good nutrients and moisture down in the ground for the next year. And it's very important to us to conserve our natural resources like our land and our water. My husband's a 6th-generation farmer. Nicole's husband is a 5th-generation farmer, and we both are hoping that our children will continue that tradition. So we want to do everything we can to preserve the land.
Can you tell us more about the Field to Fork event that was held in Texas this week?
Yes, we hosted the Field to Fork event last night here on our family farm, right here in this exact location. What it was is we invited just people from all over with different backgrounds. Some were just consumers, some were farmers like myself and Gina, some were water conservationists, some were writers and bloggers. And we had a chef out here that prepared this beautiful meal that featured all different Texas ingredients. And conversations were just held around this meal, similar to what we're having right now, discussing water conservation and our good stewardship that we practice on our farm, as well as answering questions about biotechnologies or about our other types of technologies like GPS and our modern equipment that we use. So it was just a wonderful setting for this conversation.
In our area, community gardens are so popular. It's a great way to educate our kids on where their food comes from. And it's a great way to get our community involved. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, we are on a different territory. I myself live in a very rural part of America. So a lot of people out here are farmers. So a lot of people where I live are very informed on farming. But we certainly encourage people to do everything they can to stay educated. And if they're going to grow their own farms, more power to them. And it's because they're learning the daily things that we go through trying to supply
and of
good
course,
crops.
we would always encourage you to farm and to do those community gardens. We actually have one. We farm, but we live in a small town, and in the town there's a church there, and they have a community garden. And as long as you'll tend it, they'll provide.
I didn't think to
the
mention
little
the garden
plot.
outside my house. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and we do that with our daughter. I actually used a big box that my husband got for equipment. We put some tomatoes and peppers in there so that my daughter can learn how to be responsible, how to care for that, how to feed it and grow it, and how to rely on it. And that way she can have a better respect for the food that she eats. And so I think it's wonderful. I would encourage people to get involved. I would also encourage them to go to places like findourcommonground.com. That's where there are other farmers like Nicole and myself, and we can talk about, if you have a question when you're working on your own garden about pesticide use, or if you have a question about
The
why,
types of seeds.
yeah, the type of seeds or water, if you're frustrated or if you had a great crop, you can come on there and talk to other farmers and we can have good dialogue. Another thing would be to encourage you to go to watergrowsjobs.org, and that talks about how we conserve water, because we conserve those natural resources on a large scale since we're farming for a living, but even on a small scale with gardening, with watering your own grass, we all need to be conserving water and our natural resources.
Thank you to our guests today, Gina and Nicole, on their information on family farming. That'll do it for us this week on Northeast Current. Please join us next week. I'm your host, Jason Miller. Yeah, happy. And welcome back. Barney. Yeah, definitely. Now I'm getting like comfortable being in front of this camera, because I've never, ever in my life had to sit in front of a camera to talk.
I know.
Never. Like even at weddings, I never, like even videographers, like if they're doing it, I'm not even paying attention. Just go through it one more time. Make sure everything happens. So you edit all that out? Oh, I got you. All right, I got you. Cool. Awesome.